And David Hodges is the Director of Music Programming at InPath, and he is the co-founder of New Age Anon. And he's also a music producer, an artistic manager, a husband, a dad to two of the most adorable little girls, and he lives currently in Montreal. So I'm pleased to welcome David Hodges to be our first presenter.
Thank you so much, Lori. Thank you. Thank you for bringing me into the space that way. I feel so warm and welcomed. And thank you to ICA Associates for having me here today. And welcome everyone to the space. I can't believe I'm the one who's starting this off. Holy, there's so many people. I'm on Zoom every day, and I think this is the biggest audience yet. But very excited to be here and being able to present a little bit about the work that we do at InPath. So I guess, to get things started, I'll play a little music, courtesy of the Cree Nation of Chisasibi youth artist. The song is called I Believe.
Life is hard every day, I hustle. Can you relate with the pain and struggle? There is a light down the caves and tunnels. I won't go quiet, you can take my muzzle. Breathe in, breathe out, trying to feel air. Speak truth, let it show them that we still care. Look death in the eyes with a real stare. From the heart, is there something to reveal there?
My mind is cold, my heart is pure. Do I belong? I need my cure. I find a soul, so I endure. Can't you see, it's why I believe. It's why I believe.
I'm strong enough to overcome that kept me in the dump. As I take my steps to earn respect and show my people love. In the progress I feel exhausted, but I know the road is tough. Share your thoughts and expressions to the only one above. One day I'll get away from this place that drains my strain. I just need some inspiration to continue what I think is better for my future, cause it's never too late. We must believe in great things to achieve your success.
I gotta figure out just how to live this life. Struggle every day, never give up that fight. I'm trying to get it right, I gotta find the light. But it's taking me days and it's taking me nights, and I'm never gonna let it take the best of me. Stay true, stay real, that's the recipe. Even when you're down and out, got no energy. Just look to the sky and let yourself fly free.
My mind is cold, my heart is pure. Do I belong? I need my cure. I find a soul, so I endure. Can't you see, it's why I
Doing a little manual fade there. How'd that one go? Hopefully that was a pretty good fade. So yeah, that song is courtesy of exceptionally gifted and talented youth from the Cree Nation in James Bay, Northern Quebec region. That was Seguin Wapache, Jonathan Ludit, Christian Monias, and Tyson Spencer. Song was created in 2014. So it's been some time since that has come out. It's actually the first official music video that was ever done that kind of kick-started sort of who our organization is and the work that we do. And also myself, I was actually in that video too. Holy crap, man. It's been a long time, but yeah, featuring David Hodges. David Hodges was in there too. I was also in the producer capacity. Lots has happened since then, but yeah, just to introduce myself into the space, my name is David Hodges, Director of Music Programming and Outreach and Partnerships at InPath. So InPath is a network of support, non-for-profit organization, in support of Indigenous artists and youth. We support, the network of support works and functions in many ways. And I will get into all of it, but I kind of wanted to get more into the history a little bit as to like where, what this organization is and how it functions. But also a little bit about myself. I'm a mixed race settler person, currently living and residing in Tiohtià:ke, known as Montreal. On my mom's side, I'm actually Dutch Indonesian, and on my father's side, I'm British Canadian. I myself am born and raised here in Jojage and currently reside here with my family as well. And InPath, our organization, is also currently situated in Jojage as well. But we do have quite a few staff that are kind of scattered all over Turtle Island. So, and we will get into a little bit of that as well. But, you know, to get into a bit of the history, you know, myself, I'm a music producer. I've been working also in the capacity of education since I think like 2004, I would say. So I got an early start working in the high school system, and between the years of 2010 and 2014, I was really working. Because I'm based in Montreal. A lot of my work was based in the province of Quebec, and I had been working on bringing music programs in an alternative capacity to schools all over the province, mainly because, you know, music programs are sort of like, you know, the arts, but music specifically these are the first programs to kind of get budget cuts in the educational system. So that kind of set a path for myself. And in 2013, on a tour that I was doing throughout kind of like the different regions of Quebec, I met a Cree lady in an elementary school, believe it or not, who said kind of like my spirit and said, hey, why don't you come up to the Cree Nation of Chisasibi, so that music video that you saw, to come hang out with the kids in a summer camp. And that's kind of what was my first connection working with Indigenous peoples, but specifically with the Cree Nation. And you know, a year later, that little summer camp actually had a lot of it was a lot of fun, but it also had quite an impact. And so they put me in touch with the Cree Nation Youth Council. You see that at the top right. The Cree Nation Youth Council is the entity that that basically manages all of the youth affairs in the Cree Nation of the James Bay region in northern Quebec. They put me in touch with Joshua Eiserhoff, who is the former Grand Chief of the Youth Council. Me and him got to talking, and you know, in the Cree Nation specifically, same dilemma really around that. They have all this musical talent, but no programs, no community-based programs, no programs in the schools to really nurture that talent. And so, you know, we were talking a little bit, and that's where sort of the word Nuijinan, so you see in there, the Nuijinan Iwishi tour. Nuijinan was originally coined by Joshua Eiserhoff and myself, where we were just talking. It is the James Bay Cree term that means we live here, our home, but more so an expression around like, you know, this is where we live. So that's where the original idea was coined, and the Iwishi tour was Iwishi means Cree land. And so the original tour and the original concept was, let's send David out, you know, to all of the Cree Nation communities in James Bay, and to find the talent essentially, but also to do a school presentation. Long story short, basically, I ended up touring to all of these beautiful communities and met so many people, so many young people that were just interested in the arts, willing to throw down. Like, I had met some amazing guitarists. You got Jake Miller over there throwing down some guitar. I met like different people that I basically brought a mobile music studio. We were recording songs, you know, shooting music videos, doing interviews with kids, and really showcasing and highlighting, like, you know, what does it mean to be from where you're from? What are you proud of? And really around the strength-based narrative, essentially. And so the first music video that we ever were able to release was the I Believe music video on YouTube. And yeah, and at the time, you know, there wasn't really any expectations around the grandeur or the grandness that this thing would end up becoming, where we just wanted to put it out there because the communities were proud. They were proud of their kids. They're like, oh my gosh, that's my daughter, that's my cousin, that's my, you know, and so they just wanted us to make it accessible, put it on iTunes, put it on YouTube. So that's what we did. And then what happens is the kids became viral sensations, and that was definitely not expected. You know what I mean? And what ended up happening is that through the video, it started connecting with like-minded folks doing work in different communities across Turtle Island. You know, early on in my work, I had the privilege and honor of meeting Cindy Blackstock. She was actually one of the first people that reached out to me around the work that we were doing, and kind of is one of the reasons why our project sort of became national scope. She started sharing it at some of her keynotes. If you don't know who Cindy Blackstock is, a phenomenal, incredible person, please maybe someone drop her name in the chat so you can research all the incredible, important work that she's doing. But she also promoted our organization. And so between the year of 2014 all the way till now. You know, this is a long story short, obviously, because we only got a certain amount of time, but we have worked in roughly, maybe how many videos have we done now? I think we've done around 100 music videos. So we've done quite a bit. So 100 music videos, worked with over 200 Indigenous youth, First Nations, Inuit and Métis. Myself, I've traveled to over 70 different nations and I've worked with so many kids, and it's been an incredible journey of my life, and really actually really discovering the history almost firsthand, as opposed to hearing the news and kind of doing some research online, which I've also done. You know, I've done my research and as well, but I think through relationships and really understanding and listening, and then also being a helper in a music capacity has really transformed the way I've shaped my life. But you know, I also take that responsibility on as like a guest and as a settler person, you know, here in so-called Canada. And it's, you know, but at the same time, it's never really been about me. It's been about working with the young people. You know, what is it that you want? And that sort of has, that's what our organization really has strived for in Nuijinan originally, with this mobile production studio program, which is what we call it now. And, you know, with all the music videos and stuff that's also online, if you are interested, we will drop that later in the chat, but you can watch all those music videos. Let me warn you though, it is a rabbit hole. You might be on it for quite some time, but it is a fun journey to walk through it. And it's just beautiful to watch what young kids are, you know, shaping their own future with their own voices. And I think that's really the essence of what our organization has always strived for. And I mean, through the music videos, lots of stuff has happened, you know, where it's not, I've been sort of connected with like-minded folks and really trying to be able to sustain the work that was being created by these arts programs that were, essentially, we were being invited into so many reserves, but at the end of the day, it's like, how do we actually sustain this programming? And so I discovered that there's so many artists out there that are doing this work. The only hard part though, as an artist, is that artists are often isolated. They're doing their own thing. They got the hustle and bustle. They're trying to pay the bills while, you know, doing what they love. And so as our organization started growing, we realized, okay, we need to actually figure out what it is that we're doing. You know, it's not just about these programs, it's about sustaining it. How do we sustain it as an organization and as a company? And so this is where InPath essentially was established in 2017 as the official name of our organization that manages and supports programs like Nuijinan. Nuijinan has various components, various programs as well that I will get into. But essentially InPath has really been established in 2017, ultimately as like a network of support for Indigenous artists and youth. And it is also, you know, this is how the work happens, right? Like this is just like a picture in 2019 at one of our training events, essentially. But one thing that we really discovered with artists, so this is also Indigenous and non-Indigenous artists working together in the capacity and in the support of like wanting to support Indigenous artists and youth. And so we decided that we were going to make that effort of supporting artists in the things that they needed in order to continue to do and sustain the work. So we do a lot of the program development and design that also comes in collaboration with communities, youth, and with our artists, but then also provide them the training and support to equip them to be ready to work respectfully in communities and with youth as well. So we do things like facilitation gyms, we do things like cultural competency and sensitivity trainings, you know, how to deal with disclosures. You're working closely with youth and you get close with young people and they tell you things, especially through the arts. And so, and we also, as an organization, we provide mental health care workers as well. So all of our artists and young artists that also are connected to our network are provided mental health support throughout the year that they're working with us as well. And so for us, we want to ensure that we're building, like we have this network, but it's all about reciprocity, really, and being curious and being open and supporting one another. And so it's strength in numbers. You know, artists, man, we're out and so used to just doing things on our own, man. You know, we have to sustain ourselves. And so we really, InPath has really decided that this is the, I guess, the niche that we are going to be focusing our efforts in. And yeah, it's you know, it's a joy to work every day in this organization, but we've also had to really figure out, okay, what is our focus? Because in this space, you can kind of do a little bit of everything, you know what I mean? And so this is sort of the 5 pillars of essentially how our network operates. So we have our in-class programming, which is the Nuijanan music program that you've seen. We have other programs as well to essentially spark interest in young Indigenous kids that are just want to be creative and just be in the school and all of that kind of stuff. And we do have ways that they could engage into our network as well, so that could take it into more career pathways programming, which I will get into a little bit. But also training and support to connect artists that are just graduating from high school, that are looking to actually equip themselves in the early stages of their artist careers, kind of thing, And so because our network of support we have InPath, so we have InPath artists as well. So these are professional working artists that have been working for quite some time, either in the facilitation capacity or in their artistic practice as well. And so they're also part of our pillars. We also work, with elders and knowledge keepers as well, who essentially join us at training events, are collaborating in some of our programs as well. So that's an important component of the work that we do, and also Indigenous creative collaborators. So we have partnership organizations that we work with, and to connect our network with really incredible Indigenous companies or collaborators that are out there doing incredible work as well. And so that's like one of our ways too as a network, is that we ultimately, the goal is to strengthen the network. The best way of doing that is to collaborate, right? So that's a bit about what we do. I'm just checking the time here to make sure that, okay, I have like a little bit of time left, a couple of minutes. But yeah, and so these are some of the artists that these are some, we have so many, it's like kind of crazy at this point now. We basically have about 100 artists a year, I would say, that engage in a one-year contract with our network. Because we are a non-for-profit, we are still working on sort of like a year-to-year funding, but we did get our first government grant through the, let me make sure that I get this right. I always screw it up, the ESDC. So the Employment and Social Development Canada, federal agency, essentially have provided us 3 to 4 years of funding for a program called Artworks. So this is kind of like a new program that we're able to offer as a Creative Pathways program, which essentially works with, we've kind of got 3 core components of this program. And we have sort of the criteria of what it means to be in these categories. And this program was literally designed because we've been around for 10 years. So artists from, like you saw in that first music video, and as you watch the music videos, we're working with some young kids too that end up graduating, and they're like, okay, what's next, So it's more like a lot of some, not all, but some of these kids have identified, I want to be an artist, but have trouble connecting with those resources in order to actually figure that out. And so this is where Artworks was actually designed. And then we pitched it to this kind of like unicorn grant and got the money. And we were just forever grateful, for sure. It also was kind of like a bit of a shit show. Sorry, I don't know if I have to swear, but internally as well, because we're a small organization that ended up receiving a lot of funding. And with that also comes, we have to ensure that we're adhering to audits, and we actually grew quite substantially as an organization. So we've done a lot. It's been a very interesting journey for our organization to get to where we are. But at the core of what we do, it's supporting young people in the ways that they're asking to be supported. And so these are some of our programs. We actually have open applications right now. So if you know anyone between the ages of 15 and 30, Indigenous artists that are looking to actually connect to this kind of work, you can go on our website, obviously, and get them to apply. We're also looking for mentors as well. But these are some of our little examples here. We have tons, but I mean, these are the slides that I was just provided. So we actually have Christian, which I put him in there on purpose because he was actually in that first music video that you saw, I believe from 2014, who is actually now he's a facilitator. He's also an artist, a comedian. He's a great comedian and also a hip hop artist, but he's also working as a facilitator in the schools that, in the very same community that he's from, where we visited him for the first time. And that's always been really cool to see that full circle happening. We also put in Matt Mac there because why not? Because Matt Mac's he's one of our the rising stars on a global scale. But I actually met Matthew Monias. Matt Mac is a blind music recording artist and producer from Garden Hill, northern Manitoba. I met him when he was 14. He's 22 now, and he's doing crazy things. If you don't know who he is, check Matt Mac on Instagram. And but he's also received support through our artworks to actually connect to his creative pathway. And then we also have Isla Barker, a folk singer, whom we connected with. who's literally making a career out of being an artist and also receiving grants to bring that back into the Indigenous arts community. And so we're seeing lots of like different growth and different stories, right? Like all of these artists are on their individual stories, but what we've recognized as an organization is that we want to be that network that connects those artists together so that they can share those stories with each other, bring those lived experiences to the table, and essentially keep on growing in the ways that they would love to grow. So yeah, I guess that's time for me, right, Lori? So thank you everybody for listening, and I hope that you learned something. Today.
Awesome. Thank you, David. That's really great. I jotted a whole bunch of notes. And I just want to remind folks that if you do have comments or questions, just drop them into the chat where we have lots of eyes watching the chat. We'll grab a hold of those and we'll make sure that you get some responses or that we record your comments.